Okay, so I don't know, maybe we can slowly start, maybe. I don't know, because we won't wait for long. And I guess, so we thought that maybe you can first share your thoughts and ideas that you had during this pretty short period. And maybe you can, we can do this in two ways. So we can, you can upload your sketches on G Drive folder that we created. So I created the folder sketches. Or you can share your screen and present, which is also acceptable. And I think it will work well as well.
Hi, it seems I don't have access to the sketches folder. Like I'm not able to upload anything inside that folder.
Okay, yeah. Checking this. Sorry.
I mean, the people like who have like if your sketches are not digital, I don't know like what way you prefer. I think it will be even more dynamic if we will just talk it through, like kind of here.
I sorted it out, so I think you can upload. Yeah, I think you just can take a photo. Why not?
Yeah, or just share your screen, because it will be more like exchanging kind of ideas and like every like kind of your like feedback. We'll have more.
Yeah, so as for me, the best way would be that we can have like a gallery and showcase, and then we can all discuss what we see on these sketches. So I think that would be the best way. If we can do that, that would be cool.
Yeah, I have some ideas.
Yes, for the newcomers, we are trying to make the short discussion and presentation of your thoughts and sketches. So it would be great if you can upload your sketches in the Google Drive folder. Actually, I can share the link of the folder here. You don't know where to find it.
I just see in the folder like Olga's file.
Like, yes, I just uploaded it.
That's great. Do you want maybe to start, if you don't mind?
Yes. Can I share my screen, maybe?
Yeah. Do I need? Are you? Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I put it. I don't know how to enlarge it. Well, it's a very fast picture. Let's say photos of my sketches in my notebook, so it's not very nice. But I have to say that I start walking around the Moscow International Business Center, and I don't know if I'm right, but I'm just telling you what I did. And I think I got inspired by this picture because I like the idea of the water and the possibility to create a sort of let's say connection between the water and the skyscrapers as we say some strategy that could also be implemented in other area and other business let's say districts, so on and so forth. So my vision for my proposal, which is not very clear in this sketch, because I did a sort of literature review on the properties of the remediation of water, mycelium, and so what I would like to I don't know discuss with you, it could be the idea of creating this kind of platform of mycelium that are sort of connected as insect or these elements that are projecting themselves to these buildings. And of course, I was also inspired by your projects with these beautiful, let's say, not roads, but fibrous, let's say, structures to create a sort of infrastructure, sorry for the repetition of the words, that could also create on one side these floating elements with mycelium that is growing, so it's taking the nutrients from the wastewater, and it's going up to the skyscrapers. So it can also create food. I don't know if we can eat it, and a sort of solar shading on one side to the building. I know it's not very clear, but
no, it's quite clear.
I think so.
I think I really got you.
For the here on the right, you can see some kind of keywords that I started to put together to define my idea. And then I found this project that they actually used mycelium to bioremediate the water. So on the central, let's say, bottom part, you can see this idea of hanging the structure from the water to the skyscraper. Maybe we should, of course, think of a more structural part and also think how to block in a certain way the floating of the mycelium into the water. I don't know how's the situation of the water in Moscow. And this is I started to put together all the idea. So for the moment, it's very basic. So you can see the platform. The mycelium is taking the pollution that is food. It's growing. It's growing on these, let's say, rods, and can also produce food and so on. And the problems that I highlighted, of course, I don't know if mycelium can grow under solar light conditions. I don't know. I mean, as we discussed yesterday, and you highlighted yesterday these problems. So maybe we can also think of adding some shading. I don't know. And I don't know if it's the Moscow temperature, it's optimal for the mycelium growth. And of course, can we eat the fungi coming from polluted water? I don't know. And these are some references of the paper that I found about the possibility of microremediation. That's it.
I think it's a great presentation. Thank you.
Maybe I stop my...
Yeah, I already got so many ideas as like feedback. I think I really like the direction kind of that you took, and I really like kind of thinking about like restoring, kind of recovering the area with like already like connecting this like structure and using like kind of the local water, because you can even kind of use filtration, but if it can connect to the surrounding, it's already like kind of really step ahead. I think there are like two different directions that could be taken. In one case, you just kind of implement structure and more like conceptually, that you kind of pump water in, or like cool Moscow city, or create like cascades of like water as mycelium would kind of do, but like not with actual mycelium. If we think about, because I really liked your example with this mycelium and grass kind of thing, if it can be like a floating next to it, still it will complement kind of the whole city, because this is the main river that goes around. And what else? What I was thinking? I think, yeah, that's about. I mean, it's hard to use for mycelium just to water from like a lake or something, just because there are so many bacteria there. So you need to kind of prepare it if you like go really actually into like growing mycelium. But still, it's probably if you develop a certain device to support kind of its life, and like to enter that, it's like you provide water, but you still have certain steps of filtration before. Because I think the examples that you showed, they use already dried mycelium. So they mainly use, it's like a sponge that was produced before, because it's not live, I would say. I can be wrong, but like it looks like a sponge that kind of it's like a mycelium filter or something. So it's already dried one, so you grow it in a controlled environment.
That I don't know. Maybe it's like that. Yeah.
Install. No, but even like I'm just kind of speculate like different directions that
Okay.
you can take. You can go just like with a structure, because I even like already your conception in terms of just connecting and going with a structure, if it's even from another material. If you grow mycelium and you kind of think about a device that will filtrate and prepare water in certain steps. And I liked what you said, like about even shading it. Maybe there is like also an interesting system. And even like if we go like a little bit crazy and like it will grow mushrooms, and all like everybody like in Moscow City will get mushrooms in the end.
Yes, I went
Like,
crazy.
Yeah, why not? And if it will help plants like to grow better, as it's, for example, in your cascades, there will be like closer plants kind of. So it could be protected. It's like the system, the structure itself has like a shell, but like mycelium is more like make it like thin shell stay kind of a stand, because it will grow inside, it will make like strong, but it will still be in the dark, and you still can like use filtration air kind of access like with certain penetration. Yeah,
and I really like going out of the Moscow City to the water. I think this is the
yeah, this is the break kind of.
Actually, I wasn't thinking about that at all. So.
Me too. That's why like I was like, whoa, that's already a new twist kind of.
It was the first picture I found, so it was okay.
Yeah. So I think it's and I like the sketch that is connecting the Moscow City with the what is the Moskva River, right? Moscow River.
Yeah.
Moscow River. It's like the main. And I think actually, I don't know exactly like on all steps, like of kind of all like kind of plots of like Moscow like river, but I know that there are parts like that are very clean and people actually still swim there. I mean, it's not like in Copenhagen where they cleaned everything and like you just swim in like.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah.
No. But I know that my friends go and swim like, but it's more like, I don't know, before Moscow or like something like this. It's like there are very clean areas, but if you can think about
yeah, we can think about the beach.
The beach and filtration, and if it's
Yeah.
made from like mycelium sponges like kind of swimming around, and people can just go in it and it will like help, because it's one of my favorite projects how they did in Copenhagen when they cleaned the area, and now people swim in downtown. It's extremely beautiful during the summer when everybody just goes swimming there. But also, I just wonder, like, if you kind of spin all this water around skyscrapers, like in a hot time, like or something that it's already creates a lot of natural, kind of like, first of all, like if you supervise plants with that, it's still like it's. I would really keep it as a connection. I think it's very strong.
Yeah, and it can be the filtration system actually. So because the water needs to go a really long way, so we can do a lot of filters on that way.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean
so for the food, I think that we need to, because that's a really good question, if we can eat those mushrooms, but I think it depends on the on which mushroom we use, because I guess that some of them they keep pollutants in the mycelium, some of them they keep pollutants in the fruiting bodies. So we just need to do a small research about the remediation. And I think
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah,
was the one that's like we talked with Natalie before, that there is like mushroom like mycelium that's the best in kind of the one that can break radiation. So you can use it for, it's one of the best, I don't know if one is the best, but the kind of very good strategy in terms of even areas like Chernobyl or like where is like a lot of radiation. There's mycelium kind of breaks this radiation and it can grow there, and it's still like a kind of process it. So looking into which kind of mushrooms will kind of help and can digest pollution it's I think a
Yeah,
really
I think that the only question for me here is about the scale, because the structures are like the buildings are super big. So what scale would be the structure? It's a good question as well. So maybe to go to that point. So because maybe we can do some protection, some external structure. We will be made from some other material, for example, the biocomposite, and then we can insert the mycelium, which will be actually growing. And
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like when you create the shell, and the shell is very thin, like the same with 3D printing. When they go up, even if we speculate and it's a robot that goes up, like it was a really good project in MIT, like Greenery Oxman, where it's like still
yes, this worm robots.
Yeah, I love it. It's like kind of an extremely good one. So when they go up, and inside when you insert mycelium, it will get structural performance, but then you also can have quite a, I would say, like quite a clean environment for them to grow. And at the same time, they will keep kind of processing, and if you're depositing things like food for them, the structure will get really strong, and you can print. I think they used like carbon fibers, but if you think about more like sustainable, even not recycled plastics, but bioplastics, or like kind of something like this, or even a woody one that can be used. So it's
okay. So I see.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So maybe Saba?
Yeah, all right. I'll share my screen.
Yeah, go
I don't know
ahead.
if I
I just press stop sharing.
I don't know how to.
Usually it's on the top, like,
Ah,
like I think
okay.
stop sharing.
Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I did it I photoshopped it, and because I was kind of thinking in terms of like a plan view. So the main issue that I could identify in this area was the lack of greenery. It is a very used, it's constantly, it's a busy public space, I'm assuming, as there is a mall right in the center of it. However, there's no public space for people to come out and rest in, or just even walk. So these, in the first picture, these are the areas which currently have some greenery in them, but you can't nobody is using it as a park. They're just like, they've got grass cover, there's some plants around this. This is the Moscow River, and there's like a few patches of greenery here and around this building. So hypothetically, if say we allow the mycelium to grow on the outside, so at first we, I don't know if you say plant, but we first place the mycelium in these areas where there's existing greenery, and then we sort of allow it to grow. And hypothetically, along with the use of some kind of coating or spray, let's say if this can survive outside, and then after a point it hardens and then it becomes an actual structure. So it could grow in a way that it attaches to the buildings, and it can continue growing over time, or let's say up to a point that the people think that, okay, now we have enough greenery in the city and we don't need any more green space, then it could stop. But otherwise it can continue growing, and in fact it could even form a network with all the buildings. So in the plan view, it kind of looks very dense, but actually if it is seen from eye level, it wouldn't be as dense. Rather, it would be like a porous structure. And maybe even algae or small plants can grow on the surface of this network. And eventually, if it's allowed to come over the top of the mall, it could form some kind of botanical garden or a rooftop garden of sorts. But we kind of, give the power to the people of the city to decide when you want to let the network stop growing. And also, I tried to make like a sketch from eye level, like a sort of elevation, but I couldn't. But if you can imagine, it sort of has some support from the ground, and it's at a height of, say, about 6 meters high, around like a first story, or from the ground floor. So it would kind of be like a roof structure, like a structure that shades the area over there. And also parts of it would come down and connect to the ground, and parts of it could also connect to the facades of the building in such a way that it does not block away the daylighting for the buildings. So yeah, so that was what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea that you analyze the green spaces and you start from them. It's like you put a virus starts from one point, and it really goes in. Like I share those ideas, so I really like this. And so I think the canopy that you were describing and the roof garden is a really good point as well. So in terms of the shades and the shapes and how you occupy the whole district, I think it looks really like reasonable, and I guess it will make the district much more greener and comfortable, and the climate would change, I guess, at least on the first floors of the buildings. I guess we need to think about the structure itself, because we cannot start growing mycelium as such, because it's like it's super tiny. So
exactly.
We are just trying to scale up the idea. So maybe we can talk about, I don't know, the drones or the robots that will start to follow the patterns and start to build these structures from some material that can be occupied by mycelium. So we can actually follow the previous idea of Olga, about the structure. So. And I like that all of you, you're not looking at the district as a separate part. You're trying to go to the city. This is really great.
Not like in a sense of invading, but rather, because it's porous, it's not a very like a heavy sort of structure. It's not an imposing thing. Rather, it's something very lightweight sort of, and is kind of a thin wire sort of connecting the buildings, and it provides the shading as well as a place for the plants to grow, perhaps.
Yeah, I personally really like already even like your last like sketch and how dynamic it is. It's kind of really a movement and like a process. It really feels, for example, it's from one of our research with Natalie, that's like people in the park, they feel even slightly more like comfortable just because park is organized, but through forest, it's a kind of much more dynamic system, and also much better for our psychology, kind of we really rest in it, in this kind of thing. And I think something is very beautiful here, like very natural, kind of the way you kind of created this pattern and connections. And it somehow like really kind of looks really good in the plan. And yeah, I would say that the next steps will be like thinking about which kind of unit, which kind of aggregation, which kind of system it could be to support it, direct it kind of, and have like a slight control, but like I really like how everything is kind of connected. And also like kind of go more and more like three-dimensional in terms, because it really looks like it's beautiful in like 2D level, but like it kind of goes up and down, and it's like a different amount, depends on the area. If it's like, I don't know, parking or storage, kind of when you can completely occupy facade, like with greenery, or like there is like a certain So it's kind of will be really nice in terms of like porosity kind of, and growing, it's kind of growing green city inside existing like concrete city. So it's complete like kind of like invasion like inside, and it's, I really like it.
Yes, I'm glad you understood the idea, like an extra layer, like a eco plugin, as you were saying yesterday. And maybe it's a bit too late to ask this question, but yesterday, the very first video that you were presenting, you had this kind of a rope structure where you were putting on some kind of a liquid which allowed the mycelium to grow. So what exactly the materials of the rope and the fluid?
First of all, fluid didn't work, so don't put it. No, but the thing is, it's like my mistake was there. I put it, the water was clean, but it still created slight points of mold inside. So I needed now, like I changed the technology a little bit, and I kind of prepare it all together with ropes. Like I already mix it inside, then I kind of sterilize everything, and then I put it on. But still, once in a while, it can get the problem. But you need to not to put it after, like before sterilization. It's mainly bran, kind of, it's like flour kind of stuff. That has a lot of nutrition for mycelium, but you can experiment with a bunch of stuff. Which kind of fibers you use also depends on which kind of mushroom, but this one is flax. But for example, weed one supposed to be better, but for example, my mushrooms completely didn't like it, and I still don't have a technical explanation why, because it's supposed to like. So it's, you mainly just experiment. You can try a bunch of fibers, bunch of additives, and it's mainly, it will be different. I don't know, wheat, bran, kind of buckwheat, rice, kind of like, so it's, there are like a lot of variations, and every mycelium will be like slightly different in their choices.
Okay, thank you. That answers it.
Thank you for your thoughts and ideas. Now, I think we have one more sketch. Amy?
Okay. Hi. Okay. Okay. Well, so at first I was thinking about like the concept of the net zero city, and like about the carbon print in the city. So as we was looking into the Moscow city, so I was thinking about the biomaterial to develop some kind of structure of the building. So my design concept will be concerned about two things. And the first thing will be about the biodegradable and the zero waste structure from the mycelium. And the second thing is about the sustainability, like about the net zero architecture concept, like rainwater or solar cells, some kind of it. But for these sessions, I was thinking about like using the advantage of the mycelium, like about in the terms of thermal and acoustic insulation, and also about like sequestering the carbon. And I was research more about the mycelium and some kind of structure of it, and the kind of how it works with both alive and dead mycelium. So I was thinking about some making the materials that fireproof in the buildings. Yes. So that's all I did.
I think you're telling us less than you have on your sketch because you have a lot of information.
And because the left side is just about like the things that I researched, like the structure of the mycelium or the network of it, or just conclusion of other people research. But the things that I was think about the concept is like just a concept of thermal and acoustic insulation. Yes.
I think it's great because we have a completely different sketch and a completely different approach, which can complement the other two, I guess. Because to do a revision of the facade and of the walls, internal walls, I think it's really great. I wasn't thinking about that at all. And I think it's like an external skin of the building that we can use, and it will be also reducing the carbon footprint of the area. I think it's really nice. So as far as I understand, so you could find some material that can work for that, or you're still doing research?
Oh, just a research.
Okay. Yeah, but I guess we can go on. Maybe we are not talking about the covering all the walls because obviously we need some glass, some windows or something like that. But anyways, to create a pattern on the facade, to make some patches, that will work with the buildings and make it more sustainable. I think it's a great way of moving on.
Yeah, I think it's like it's a very interesting approach, and I'm in general like Natalie knows how I'm obsessed with layers, and creating like layers is my kind of thing and everything. But I think like what you said, Mycelium has in a dried kind of state, it has amazing like fireproof, but also acoustic properties. So you can make it also quieter areas, or even if you construct like a certain spaces, maybe it's also can create this quietness, silence for people who like in the craziest district kind of and need some time and space. So it's quite like I also like I think like any like spaces, installations, anything with like that can like give us the silence in the city will be like highly appreciated, because I personally went like a month ago to like one of the biggest, greenest and most amazing areas in Russia, and I was like really blown away by the idea how quiet it was. Like I was just sitting there and it was quiet. Like I don't remember when last time I like was in a space like this. Yeah, it will be interesting to kind of think or which kind of pattern or what could it be like when you start kind of go around skyscrapers. So what will be your logic to like which kind of spaces you occupy, or you look like for like because they all glass, but it still means there are like certain areas it's glass is like not required there. It just kind of this skyscraper trend, like we just put it all in glass. So where it can be changed, where like, and also like kind of look more into the properties, like can it be as a like filtration, like if it's what kind of things can happen. Because for example, there was like a very big case in London when we were studying like with Mycelium, and there was like a very big fire. It was like a big scandal kind of that happened, and people died just because the materials of the facade weren't right. So in this case, if it's like fireproof, maybe it's also areas that have to be protected for people, like kind of just look on all properties and think like on which areas you need which properties, or like which amount, what's the pattern, like, or it's some separate spaces somewhere in between, kind of yeah, just also there are like what I know from like sections, what I saw, like in every skyscraper, there are like floors. That's, for example, this is like I don't know, there are like galleries or stuff. There is like a certain space, but then like technical floor could be like the same size. So it's kind of, but it's still like all glass. So you can even select all technical floors that happen once in a few floors and kind of create an envelope for it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, who's next? Because we don't see any sketches uploading. So maybe you can, I don't know, show us your sketch in the camera.
Yeah, just talk about your ideas, like vision.
Yes, I can share with you now. That's all right. I'm currently on the move, so apologies for not doing things properly, scanning. So hopefully this will be okay. I've had two different ideas, and one of them was well, the first one is I wanted to explore what a pedestrian bridge would look like if it followed the growth of the mycelium. Maybe this one is a little bit more requires structural understanding, and maybe this one requires a little bit of knowledge on where the major traffic, pedestrian traffic specifically, if we wanted to improve flow of people from buildings to buildings, blocks to blocks, which will be the most optimum places to place a pedestrian bridge. And at the same time, we could try to increase some of the green area, but utilizing that excess space next to the entrance of the bridge. Because just looking at the map, it lacks a lot of greenery in the area. So with this idea is inspired by, there's a tree called the banyan tree, which it grows over long periods of time, and it grows very strong roots. And there's a bridge, and I forget the name of the place, but it's in India. An entire bridge is made out of those roots over time. This idea of deep time. Maybe this is something that we can sort of integrate in this. It could contrast the regular shape with the organic forms. So somewhat of a maybe an artistic expression of let's bring nature back in. And I'm not sure exactly if that it could do that function as well. Maybe it can capture some of the pollution, the air pollution. I don't know exactly the mechanism of this, but this could potentially be a byproduct of having such structures over maybe highways or major streets. And then the second idea is a slightly smaller scale. And this is inspired by the pop-up park idea. Parking is where they have temporary parks and a place of a parking spot in the city. And I was trying to think, how would nature grow? How would nature sort of spread its influence, reproduce? And one of the thoughts that came to mind, maybe it's that nature's it's decentralized instead of just one central structure. So what if those pop-up parks can happen dynamically, and it adapts to the demand of inflow where people are. So if there's a place that have maybe more employees or more traffic from public transit, it can just pop up there magically. You know, we can just move in some basic furniture. This is the design part. We can design the furniture. We can maybe design incubators, and this could be like a little micro plant that we can design. Not design. We can manufacture more mycelium, since manufacturing requires storage and special conditions. This could be like a decentralized sort of micro mycelium manufacturing facilities in the city. It can happen simultaneously where people are using it as a seating area, adding more greenery. Maybe it's the the potted plant, maybe it's made of a mycelium vase. I don't know. So this could be a furniture piece project, and maybe looking at it holistically on the map, where it could potentially grow, and how they can connect with each other. And this produces maybe like a reinforcing loop of more mycelium and more growth, and you'll see more of them pop up in many different parking spots. That's the idea, at least. It's the, yeah. So these are the two different ideas, and I'm trying to think of something mega structure, but this is given the time constraints, and this is where I ended up with.
Well, I think it's a great mega ideas. You need more mega because it's really cool, and I really like the pop-up. I really like it because I don't know. We even can use the research from symptoms. So, for example, the symptom analysis. Sorry, I think you wanted to say something like that, Katja.
No, I'm just like, I think you said that you studied in the States. Because my good friend of mine started the project. I think the name is Parklets, but I'm not sure. In the United States, where there's park lots, and they were communicating with the government that you'll get the parking
Yes.
lot, and you get kind of stuff. So it's probably, I don't know, more than 8 or 10 years ago. My friend started it. How I remember, so it's unbelievable.
The city of Philadelphia does it once every year, and it's a major event. They block many different neighborhoods, and all the architecture firms locally design their own pavilions. This could potentially involve the local actors in Moscow. Designers can.
It's amazing. I just don't remember. Is like my friend was like exactly in the beginning of it, like because or like a bit later. But I remember how she was showing me the website and everything, how they tried to communicate it like many years ago. And it seems like it was like quite a lot of progress. And I thought the idea is just brilliant, kind of unused, and also
there's plenty of parking space in Moscow. So what is readily available? And it's a lot of parking spots.
Yeah, but even if you will create like a second kind of floor structure, it's like people going up, like you still can park, but there is like a second floor for the. I just like kind of crossed my mind right now, but like I think like in general your ideas is really nice, and I like the scale of it. I would think about, for example, for bridge or even for more like furniture, like which kind of maybe system could be, like how they are kind of inside the plot should navigate, kind of not to navigate, but like be kind of together. But at the same time, it's maybe more collaborative work that's kind of somebody who likes go like and analyze the space, and you will go more like into detail kind of thing, because all of these are extremely interesting. First of all, like bridge, but actually I have a question for you. Is it a bridge just across the road, or it's a bridge between skyscrapers, or it's going to be
I didn't have enough time to look into traffic flows. If it makes sense to bridge two towers that work together, maybe they're partners, maybe they regularly communicate information, that makes sense to build a bridge between them. Even if they don't, I think it's just cool to do that.
Yeah, we like bridging.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not like now, but for example, when I was in Hong Kong, I was really impressed that, I mean, the density is crazy, but like when you pretty much never go on the ground floor, you always move somewhere in between. And particularly for this area, because they occupied it like this, and they just keep like developing it. And because they didn't build the park, they built this shopping mall. So kind of all those connections and all these bridges kind of can create required spaces and let you go in different levels kind of and enjoy it.
I think we can analyze the traffic in this area, because there is a good data set from Yandex. So I will look up myself, and then I will share the links with you. But you can see even how many cars at what time per day. So you can see the statistics. I think it's good. And based on this, we can develop, because I think it's good that we are moving here in the direction of the communication, let's say, and it's really nice. And so about the popping up of the parks, I think even we cannot do this temporarily events, but we also can think about the structures that will stay forever, because we can analyze the places where, because I was working with some projects to improving the courtyards in the living districts. And in many cases, you can just organize the parking and it will really take less space, a lot less space. And you will have the better place for the green area and for the playgrounds inside, just by organizing and keeping the same place for the cars. I mean, in terms of the square meters. So I guess this can also be the case if you want to move on with that. Yeah. Great. I like these ideas. They are so different and so diverse.
Yeah, I also really like that it's a very sensitive approach in terms of kind of creating public spaces. There is like very kind of real granularity in it. That's like it's a kind of real thing that should be done there. And also in terms of the ground, there are some spaces that you can create kind of greenery and public spaces and look into parkings, but in particular like growing a little bit up, kind of, because there are still amount of people in like the science skyscraper, and the amount of the area like kind of completely it's not enough for them to go outside just to enjoy kind of. So it would be nice.
Yeah, that would be exciting. Thanks for your feedback. Maybe this pop-up park can be modular. It can exist and it can disappear at an instant, depending on. I'm imagining it. Maybe it's placed along major traffic routes to reduce the eyesore. There was a video that you showed me where it analyzes the asphalt surface 0.56, whatever. Those painful areas, we can try, maybe we introduce those parks, for instance, because it's a lot of people are walking through them. Maybe if there's the scale is there, maybe someone can just buy those lots. I don't know. Maybe this could be a mycelium production business over. I don't know. Like there's potential. Maybe even paying back to the city in terms of economic growth and yeah. But
it's like finding mushrooms.
Yeah, it's a mushroom farm in the city, yes, but in many different spots.
Yeah, I think initially when I started with incubators, I was really into kind of how to implement it and kind of have it in the city. But also, it's like mushroom mining. But there was like a good project with it's a startup. They create like a pavement that's when you walk on it, it creates electricity. So how much you work, it's the amount of electricity, and you kind of you have the app and it collects how much kind of you work today, how much electricity you created. So you get something back also as a person. So I really like idea of thinking about like system kind of like this. That's maybe it's a modular system. Maybe it's like you can move it around. Maybe it's reorganized, depends on the events. So it's like if you want to have a concert, there is a modular system that works. Then you reorganize it kind of that even the amount of modules are always there, but you can play kind of in different scenarios and maybe like different functions that can be, depends how it's kind of clustered and combined together.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And we still can think about the connections between the buildings and some bridges, but then I think we can even merge those two ideas into something new, like, the one thing.
Maybe those parks will grow the materials needed for the bridge. We'll see.
Yeah.
Phase 2. Thanks for your feedback.
Thank you. Okay, we'll ask someone to step out who was not, because I guess those hiding people who are not showing their faces, they didn't present. Oh, they run.
Hello everyone. So I'm coming to share my program, and I got a busy day, so I can't to make a PowerPoint. So I just
Yeah.
a minute.
Blurring. It was the same when I was showing a sample yesterday. The blurring.
So here is what I'm thinking. It's a city of the Moscow, the Central Park, something like that. So my I think is made a giant web that made of the mycelium, and let it grow at a specific way, and influenced by some factors like streets, parks, and the business area, and the living area, and the sunshine angles, something like that, to weave a big web. And this web, what to say? I want it to become a structure, not made of the mycelium, but the normal architect, like a concrete or plastic or something, the normal materials. But we use the program to run it to similar, how to say it, to make this web like the how the mycelium grows. So when I made this web, I think I can make it set something like the solar panel to absorb the solar energy, to turn it to the light, or the temperature controls. So you when the some extreme temperature or the extreme weather conditions, we can use it to deal with something emergency circumstance. Like this. So it depends on the how the city's factors goes. So if we have this program, we can use it in some other cities or some other areas. So this is my plan. So this might not be so major. This is what I thought.
That's cool. So you mean you will cover with the net the whole structure, so you will create like a different climate inside, right?
Yeah.
I think this is a really cool idea, and so it really resembles some of the anime movies that I saw when I was a child, with the covering of the the bubble, and there is a different area inside this bubble which protects from the solar energy when I don't know, when people are destroying the earth and the ecology. But I guess in this case it makes sense a lot, because what we have in Moscow City is these glass facades, and they don't work with the environment at all. It's just what Katya was saying, that it's just a fancy fashion to cover the tall structures with the glass, and don't think about how they work with sun and with air and with water and whatever. So I guess when we create some kind of a light net, which works as a material and which like, and I guess you were trying to create like a structure, a cell of this network, right? In the second stage, if I understand it right. So yeah, I guess is really interesting. So we can think about some kind of a fabric, let's say, even that can and also I was thinking about the megastructures that Katya is knitting. So
It's a real megastructure site.
that's a challenge for you to make a structure which will the mycelium will grow over the whole Moscow city. Yeah, wow, that looks really interesting. And yeah, thank you for those beautiful sketches actually. And yeah, so I guess to think about the functionality and how this this wall, I don't know, would work. I guess we can call it a wall even. How it can work structurally, how it can work with the sun, and yeah.
But I think it's like kind of blows my mind here that
That is extra layer that you wanted to do.
yes, it's exactly what I like. There is another project that's like I'm working on. It's more like about geoengineering concept. And if you know, guys, like geoengineering, it's about reflecting kind of sunlight and cooling the earth with this. So working with clouds, kind of working with kind of these kind of things, and they're developing like devices for it. It should be like another workshop that's particular for this. But I think like with this net, you can create a lot of possibilities for the area. I'll be just very careful that it's not like a kind of a dome thing.
Yeah,
it's more like a functioning partly like in certain like where it's needed with has to be shaded, depends on the sun, or where it's kind of it's also can have like a different units inside the net. For example, there it has like an element that's like purify air or like membranes and clean. Here is like another one kind of more like greenery. So you can stack a bunch of stuff in this membrane, but at the same time, it's interesting like how to keep it more like flexible, that there is like certain adjustment, or like one of the old concepts of more like cybernetics, or like stuff kind of that maybe it's a multi-unit robots that's kind of combining these things and then kind of refrigerate and like little they kind of change. So what will be kind of the units like to give the granularity of it, like, and how does it adjust like to everything what's happening kind of around? Because with a like kind of these scale systems, you can change completely the environment inside. But I would really think which kind of functions you bring, which kind of experience, because even if it's just fabric, like transparent fabric with different coloring, like it can create, I don't know, a sunny day in a rainy weather, or it can like shade everything in a crazy sunny day. So it's kind of what's the possibilities of even this fabric kind of inside. Because I really like Alafira Lesson's project, like the sun, like probably like everybody saw it in Tate Modern. And it was just like a kind of orange big like sun that's like really created the experience of warm kind of feeling. If you Google, you'll just see it. But the thing is, it's like I personally come from a very rainy city. I'm from St. Petersburg, Russia, or like I lived in London, and London is also not the sunny spot. Even compared to St. Petersburg, it's so much better. But the thing is, it's like as a person from a rainy city, like I just dream about big sun all the time. That's like you just see it. So like if you can even emotionally like kind of change that this fabric has a like light orange kind of color, or like then it protects you from rain kind of. It's can also like you can go more technical with like robotic units, or you can go more artistic with actually what's your experience like, what kind of feelings it can create, like this sunny kind of, or like like rain protections, that you can be always outside if it rains. Because, for example, in Finland and quite a few other cities, in a cold environment, they build like tunnels that you just go from one thing to another. So like, if you created areas are always without like rain kind of.
They also do the same in Venezuela, for example, because you need to protect.
It's too hot. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's relevant, and I think we can start from the environmental analysis. So we can see, for example, in ladybug and grasshopper, we can see how the sun works, how the sun works with the district based, and then we can think about the possibility of this net and where it is where it can work with the sun, where it can work with the rain, and so I guess it's really interesting to deep into it.
Thank you for feedback.
Oh, really cool.
Thank you. Okay. What else? Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, hello. I think I can be the next one.
Great.
Yeah, and I can share my screen with you guys. Yeah. Are you able to see my screen right now? Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so in central speaking, the location I will choose in Moscow is somewhere between those skyscraper and those more flat and more lower space. So it's more like a connection space between the city business center and also with the lower townhouse area. And we know that during our yesterday video presentation that the Moscow is a really huge city, but with lots of skyscraper, but the building and the pedestrian is not like very friendly to the passenger, because I did some research saying that the master architecture who designed this business center, they actually want to compete with the big city like New York or London to have lots of number of skyscraper to show their economical development. So this is actually purely based on like a political or economics propaganda or their ambition. So they don't put too much emphasis or focus on how people will using those space. So so that's the problem with current design and planning of the city center. Yeah, but on the other hand, I have been Moscow one time, and I'm really amazed by how the old building and the very beautiful church over in the old Moscow city center. So one example is the St. Basil Church in the very close to the Red Square. So we can see it have really colorful dome and very interesting geometry feature. It's more like an onion-shaped dome with a very colorful presentation, and also with a red brick. So it's really a colorful church here, and we can also see some old painting of the old city. And inside the interior of the church, it also have lots of very beautiful interior decoration with lots of flower image paintings on the old church walls. And also we have the very nice ceiling of the church, including the image combined with the cosmos or galaxy or star. So yeah, so and another great example, not very far from Moscow, is Baku. So it's really great, draw a great example between the landscape and the building environment. So you could see how people have fun boating near the landscape feature close to the city center. So I believe this is a really great example to show how people could live in harmony with the city center, even if in a very dense urban area. And this is like a sky view of the Moscow. So Moscow was founded almost 1,000 years ago. So I believe we can learn a lot from its cultural history and heritage and use this as our inspiration of the design for our modern design. Yeah, and based on our yesterday research, we could also see lots of very interesting organic feature, including those microbacteria, and this is like a microscopic view of the mushroom. So we could see it's really colorful and with lots of interesting geometry. And here is another image as well. So actually, we could see some similarity between the old Bastille church design with those micro living creatures. So I believe we can draw some overlapping correlation between this architecture design with those microscope animal or creature. So yeah, so one design aspect is from like an urban planning idea of the green city. So I believe most of you are very familiar with the idea. So it's first proposed by Howard in United Kingdom almost 100 years ago. 200 years ago. So essentially, they proposed lots of decentralized green space across the urban center, and also promote more environmental green belt infrastructure in the city. So to promote a more recreational and more comfortable living environment for those city residents. So based on those previous discussions, so maybe I choose the site close to here. So this is one sketch I made here. So essentially speaking, is the main strategy is to see how can we fill the gap between the those skyscraper infrastructure with much more open space. So I believe we can use some similar plants living structures. So how those plants are growing towards the above part of the skyscrapers, and how they are rotating, moving around with those skyscrapers, and then once they are descending down, they are merging together at the bottom space, and also how they float above like a river or like a river delta, flowing around the more open space, and we can plant lots of green space, trees, plants, flowers, and other amenities like a restaurant, cafeteria, or library among those like a yellow area, so which is more like a centralized hub for people to. It's more like an opening gathering public space, which allowing people have fun and enjoy their urban life in center Moscow. So it's not going to be like a ghost city or concrete city, but it's more like a ecological friendly and user friendly city. And also here is the like a section drawing of the building, and it's very sketchy, but it's more it's showing that how those green infrastructure can flowing around the skyscraper, and how they extend to the open space. And we can propose maybe some underground space as well. So the car don't need have necessary running above front, because it can create some safety issue to the pedestrian. And also we know that Moscow actually have really huge and wide street, which most of them are built during the Soviet period. Actually, that is not very friendly for in terms of the pedestrian use. So I believe that maybe we can propose some underground street where the car can have more convenient way to run in those underground space, where people can have more nice space above front with more friendly pedestrian usage of their urban space. So I believe we can have a really nice combination of those micro creature we learned yesterday, and with those urban design idea to create a better living environment and better life for the future residents. Yeah, so that's my presentation. Yeah, thanks.
That's great, thank you. I think it's really amazing that you looked into cultural issues, and because we were not speaking about this before, so you just dug up yourself the departments of Vasily Blazhenny Church, and I think it's really great that you even found some similarity between the beauty of the microbiological structures and the mushroom microscope view, and the old architecture, which actually Vasily Blazhenny is not really old, but anyways, I guess it is. Anyways, the architecture is based on the cultural roots, let's say. So I think it's really interesting how you looked into these issues, and how you made it obvious now that the skyscrapers in the Moscow business district, they don't have those cultural codes, and they really don't look into the environment, the social environment they are based in. So they can be anywhere. Like those towers can be in any place. And I guess the idea of the structures that will try to bring the cultural code back to this district is really interesting. Because when people are connected to their culture and their social environment, they feel more, let's say, solid. They stand on the ground, and I think this lack of Russian maybe culture in this case, and in terms of design and architecture is really interesting. And also to think about the green cities by Ebenezer Howard, I think is good. The idea so that we make like a clusters inside Moscow even, and then those clusters are connected with some lines. And here we have the question how those clusters can look like. Because if we look at your sketches, I think those green, like yellow even, patches, they are like those clusters, right? And then we have the connections between. And they are so colorful and they bring so much life into this district. So I like this idea. The only thing that I can say is that we can put parking underground. This is absolutely normal. But to put the cars in the streets and the ground, I guess that people are starting to step out of this idea in urban planning, because it was really popular in Europe and in Russia in 80s and 90s to put all the streets and the driving ways underground to clean up the ways in the city center. But I guess for today is quite difficult to rebuild all the structure, the infrastructure inside the city. And also there is a railway near Moscow city. So maybe in the terms of like if we're talking about speculation, it can be possible. But if we're talking about the real conditions that we have on site, so maybe we can only talk about the parkings, underground parkings, and maybe we can talk about the roads that will be separated somehow, like tunnels, but they should not be only underground. They can also be on the ground, but just separated. Or we even can talk about if we need that, because if we need some high-speed road which is going through the district, and it's really needed to go on a high speed because it's the connection, but maybe it's not needed in this area. Or we can either talk about the another option, which would be to lower the speed and to make the shared space between people and cars. So we will do the opposite way, and we make the roads more friendly for pedestrians, but in the other way, by reducing the speed. So this can be also an option.
Oh, that's super interesting.
For great feedback. Yeah, so actually for the underground space, during my visit in Moscow, so I'm really amazed by the underground subway station design. So Moscow has a really fabulous and fantastic and all different style of the underground subway space. So I believe also we can do lots of very interesting design for those underground space in that business downtown center, and also we can think about how those underground space can have a great connection or like a great transition to our above ground either like a parking space or like a above ground road or above ground urban space. So I believe we can also put lots of great emphasis and interest and design for that underground part as well.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, we can think about the design of that space. Yeah, but in terms of the road infrastructure, I think it's just that the thing of the speed that you can drive. So if you're creating the high-speed highway, so yeah, it should be separated. And if we are talking about something that it goes inside the city infrastructure, so we can just reduce the speed in some places, and then it would be more friendly.
Yeah, I really like Natalia's comment about like not putting so much under the ground, because during my undergrad, I also put like 3 floors of the roads under the ground. I was very happy about it. But I think in Moscow City in particular, it's already, there was just like one kind of where like kind of main connections where people drive quite slowly inside, and mainly it goes like all parkings and everything is like underground. So it's already there. I'm really surprised by your way of like thinking. It's really cool, like about bringing St. Basil Cathedral and putting it next to a biological system, because that one looks kind of, it's so much fun enjoying this like kind of envelope of this church. I'll be like very careful with it, because in one case, it's true that cultural thing is extremely important. We don't feel related to like places if there is no like a kind of story, culture. And I even have like Canadian friends who came with me like to like visit Russia, and they were like, oh my God, that's so old, because their country is so new. And for them, it's like, holy smoke kind of thing. But at the same time, I do think sometimes Russia is too conservative, and it's kind of time to slightly kind of shift things, and new areas can breathe and be completely different. So I think it's a very sensitive and amazing topic, kind of to think about how you still kind of create it culturally relevant for particular culture and environment. And what Natalie said, that those skyscrapers could be anywhere. How can we make those skyscrapers, especially for Moscow, especially for this climate, people, the way people do stuff, kind of, because every country has like slightly different attitude about things. And what's in general, like, I don't know, Russian culture is lacking in this district. Also because it's nice that pretty much everybody looked around, but when you walk around it on the like kind of 5 stores buildings, it's the most surreal thing, because it's like there is like live small coffee shops kind of, and then you just see these kind of oases of these kind of blue glass skyscrapers. It looked like Blade Runner, like, or something that's completely appears from nowhere, because all around is an old area with a completely different identity, kind of. So yeah, and I really like, I mean, you took it like on a very kind of big scale, even like with these particular like details and stuff. So I will just think a little bit more like how, like, you don't have like to go, of course, like in the small details. Like we're more kind of, I think the good outcome will be like clear vision of more or less like of the direction. So it's kind of, how do you frame these visions? It's even it's a speculation, like, but how it's, so it's like a granularity, a certain design kind of ground in it.
Thanks so much for great comments. Yeah, so maybe for the next couple of weeks and days, we can take more research on the Moscow and Russian culture, and to see why the local architecture design those, how design those beautiful architecture design, and how the building is related with their maybe culture or even philosophy and their their living history. So I believe we can maybe do more research on that part as well to inform our future teamwork on those buildings and urban space. Yeah, thanks.
I think it's amazing to look into context and like kind of make projects related to the context that kind of you're designing. And somehow it keeps popping up in my mind that you said that like Moscow is like around 1,000 years old, but it also was like a huge fire in 1812, if my history is correct. That's a kind of very big part of Moscow was completely burnt out, and it was rebuilding like anew. So it's also interesting, I don't know, maybe to see drawings before and after, or maybe it's kind of too much going. But somehow like that's kind of, it's interesting that's like every city, I think it was visualization by Google, that's how every city develops over last 20 years, and how they like Dubai grows, how like Shenzhen grows, they kind of these like very interesting kind of dynamics, how it changes, because we just aggregate, we just like not aggregate, accelerate, and we just faster and faster kind of into our development. Cool, really nice.
Okay, I think if we have, maybe you can tell us how many more volunteers want to present their projects, because we need to follow the time also, and I guess maybe we can have some short break for 15 minutes. So that we
Yeah, but it will be like really nice to hear like Ahmed, Jacqueline, who else? Nadine, I think.
Yeah.
Piran.
Piran we heard.
Piran we heard, yeah. Sorry. Like
Aileen?
We heard Emmy, but we haven't heard Elle.
Yeah.
So it will be really good, guys, because like we won't be able to kind of put you like on the teams and protect, like progress further if we don't communicate.
Hello. Yeah, maybe I can be the next. Yeah. Okay. Let me share my screen. Yes, and my idea is like wearing a clothes for the facade, because I think it's like the reference picture on the right side, and this is a tower in the Moscow business center, and the upper part is like the apartments, and in the middle is like the offices, and on the near the ground is about the retail parts. And my idea is like, yeah, it's like a clothes outside the facade, and it may work like for some functions, like in the apartment side, there might be some extra bedrooms or some functions for the guests, and like some may be used for the hanging gardens. And like in the office part, there might be some sleeping bags for the workers in the noon, or when they need to work very late, they can maybe use this part, and have some like smoking spaces, and they don't need to go down to the street to do that thing. And yeah, they can just like open the door on the facade and then use that space. And there might be some space invaded by this this structure, and it can create some communal spaces for the people to share. And it's like this is like the whole imagination for the part. It's like the structure grows around the buildings, and then there might be some connections between the different skyscrapers, and there might be some new towers created by this kind of structure. And in near the ground, maybe there's connections near the ground, and it might create four different kinds of spaces. One is inside the structure, and the space left is also create an interesting space for them. And up upon the structure, and like in another building is the fourth space, and this is the connection. And I'm thinking about it. This might look too big, and maybe I can't finish it in these few days. So I prefer to do like prefer this one, like it's like facade renewable strategy, and this is some reference structures I found on the internet. This is like a sofa, but some machine-like things grown from it, and people may use it to sit or something. And this is a silk-like structure, and because I think silk is a kind of bio structure too, and it has its inner logic, and I think it's really funny if I focus on this part. Yeah, and it's all like something that I found on the internet, maybe that fit my idea. Yeah, and that's all. Thank you.
I personally really like aesthetics. Like I really like the fabric, your references. Like you have a really good eye on like kind of in a really nice stuff. And particularly this on the black, this white kind of thing. It looks very. I really like the diversity of kind of units in it. I think the idea is very nice, and it's very. I mean, we'll share a bit later, but like very close with some our like thoughts with Natalie. But updating facades, connecting them, but it's also like circulates between like all other like guys' presentations. And but I think there is like a certain sensitivity in what you kind of like drawing with this, that it's really transforms. It's not just kind of creates an envelope, it transforms the whole thing. And there is something very attractive in it that's kind of, it can be whole area changed kind of over like, so it's kind of really connects everything and reshapes. It's in a very united kind of way, I would say. Really nice sketches.
I think also that is really interesting how you work with the functions, and that you are updating the facade, not only in terms of environmental conditions or climate, but you're also updating the functions or adding really cool places like sleeping bags or smoking spaces. I like it. I think that to scale up, it's really interesting to work with the typology of those updates and the spaces that you can add, and then you can create something like a cell which will work in different conditions. Like we can create like a catalog of those cells or those.
Great idea. I think it's just a great idea.
Yeah, so with those parts or those rooms, so I don't know, we can call it a cell. So, and we can create a catalog, how it adjusts and how it changes the shape. And then you can go to the bigger scale, to the sketches that you are drawing later on. So we create like a system, and then this system assembles in some kind of the structure on the facade. So I think it's really interesting how we can work with that, with the typology of those spaces. Yeah, and the aesthetics of the references, and in general, the vision is really interesting. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, like what Natalie said like about creating a catalog of units. If you are, of course, if you are interested in it, because it always shows kind of the variety of ideas that you have and how whole system kind of works together, and create kind of the right level of research and kind of complexity, like development of the design. Nice, really nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, so I think we have Nadine, Jacqueline. That's sure they didn't speak.
Yeah, and I just wanted to like to say for everybody, like don't forget to put all your stuff on the drive, even if it's like you showed us a sketch. Just take a picture. Like you don't need to scan it. Just take a picture and just drop it there, so you have it kind of, because I would say you shouldn't get married to your ideas. You also hear a lot of other people talking about their ideas, and it's not like my idea and I'm developing it. It's like collective effort, and we like share and play. The same like we with Natalie gave you all our stuff. You give it to each other kind of. And if you think this is great, like I want to keep developing, you will still develop it in a different angle. Just kind of shift and take and like feel comfortable about sharing. Yeah, Jacqueline?
Yeah, I can go. Actually, I went like a little more like in the view of the person scale. I found a video that I really liked that was walking tour through this business center. And I realized that the views were so overwhelming in the fact that it's like everything is a street and the buildings are so tall. So for the human scale itself, like when you are looking and walking the streets and the city, I thought that is really overwhelming, like seeing these moldings taking like down to you. So I was thinking like also with these mycelium forms that we were talking about, I took more like the natural codes. So I started thinking about like, what if we take down that scale for the human eye, and we make a structure that it's crossing the facades, so it's hanging in one and the other, so you are not able to see completely and the tall buildings that are going to crash into you. And then you can, I like really these images of the streets that are framing over trees, because I think that it's like a beautiful way to see a code like the natural and the human interacting in a very harmonical way. And then I thought that this will be like kind of the view that someone seeing it in the high school will see, like trees coming out of the fog, and it will be like the high buildings coming out for this mass or this structure, that it will be like invading the low zone of the buildings. So it's just kind of the idea that I was thinking of.
Thank you. I like the idea of scaling down, and I like the references. Natural references are amazing, and I think we can, what's coming up to my mind, so we can not only think about the one layer on the ground that you actually draw on any sketches, but we can also create some layers which will be like above straight, and which will also be the same scale, so the human scale. Like I really like the idea that you're thinking about how to work with the existing architecture, but make it more friendly with this so simple and so beautiful design idea. So yeah, I think we can look more into the layer, let's say, itself, because I really like the reference with the fog, and I don't know, actually still I'm trying to interrun like how we can use that, how we can create something like that fog, or do we need it at all? But yeah, I think it also has some things that it shares some thoughts with the previous ideas about the nets and the structures that will do like a canopy, and that will also work with the climate and the environment. So I guess it's really cool, because it adds this beautiful natural references to those ideas.
Yeah, I think the reference is like great, and like the idea of being sensitive to the scale and human scale, and what kind of makes us feel comfortable, because when I go there, like I feel completely uncomfortable. Like even I'm a person who like grew up in a also big city. I think it's a very poetic approach, and I personally really like. I think poets are one of the best people, like in terms of like sensitivity and creativity. Like poetic architecture is kind of what makes people very related to it. So I think it's a very sensitive approach, and also kind of in a good way, like ready to go solution, because you can just do it. You can just design it, you can play with it, you can like decide about your functions and stuff. And it's really somewhere in between pop-up architecture, art installation, some like functions that you can implement, but also like that you can kind of invite people in their like very poetic and beautiful journey with you. So I really like your approach.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I really like that everybody like kind of brings like something like unique, like cultural code, scale, connectivity, like functions, kind of. So everybody like water, kind of connecting everything. Cool. Ahmed, Nadine.
Yes. Hello. Sorry. Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I'm trying to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday we are talking that we okay, that our site of intervention, it's Moscow, the Moscow International Business Park. And I was thinking about the different things that we have, different constraints that we have to fix in this area. For example, we said that there are, we didn't found, for me, and especially in this image, we didn't found nature, something, all the, that we can found here is some buildings and many complex buildings. So my objective, and I'm trying to thinking why we not to integrate nature, why not to doing something, I want to say odd, something different in this area that highlight the importance of nature, and that we have to integrate this element in this space in order to make it more comfortable for the user. So, and also this architecture element should also create an interaction between users and communication between people. So to inspire from Mycelium, thank you very much for these amazing photos. I seen these photos that are an amazing network that are completely connected. So, and also in this network, we can find some voids, like we see in the photo. And also in some area, this network are very complex in order to create solid elements like we see here. So I was thinking to create, I want to say public space or a small pavilion, then can highlight the idea of, how to say that, the idea of create a new language of architecture that highlights the idea of the interaction between biomaterial, the user and the biomaterial, and create something different and very organic in this area. So I was thinking to do something like that, and in which people can interact and can feel this new experience. For example, I want to combine these two elements. For example, in this solid area, we will create this network. We will highlight how can I say that, to highlight the solid and the complex network in this this bioagent can create it, and in this two element. And in, for example, in the middle, in the transaction between them, we can say the area which the network are opened in order to see the shape of this the shape created by this bioagent. And this is in the details in order to help the people interact with this this material. I want to say that we can create this we can say pavilion. This pavilion with many layers. The first layer will be this network, and after that we will have a mesh in which for the cultivation, and after that we will have the mushroom. This will help these people to interact and to come to harvesting mushroom and to understand more the idea of nature and how it's important. And that's all.
Thank you. That's really cool because it's a different scale, and I think it's again something about the culture, and but it's about the nature culture, let's say. So bringing awareness to people about. So it's like a pavilion showcase where you can. I don't know, you can rest. It can be like a place inside the district, this pavilion, where you can just sit and protect yourself from the sun and just rest. But at the same moment, it has this this natural mushroom cover. So. And I really like how you work with the references and how you work with the shape of the pavilion, and but not even the shape. It's the logic. It's the logic of how it is being created, how it can grow, and how it can how those pavilions they can even make a network of those shapes, and then they will be connected with this net. So. It's really cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I really like that you looked into different like scales, kind of in one case geometry, then kind of the layer of the system and how closely it's related to Mycelium system itself. What I think it will be very interesting to develop and go further. I mean, it's like I'm just giving a feedback. That's like material system. That's okay. Like one form, it's like too much of limitation. If you have a material system, that's like the slide that we can see now, it can be aggregated in variations. So in one case, you can see the possibilities of your system, that you have this material system, those layers, but then they create like different geometries for like different options. Second, I think it's really interesting topic about actual food, like if this system can be the same like hydroponics, like that this is like mushroom farm that's in the city can provide people like with food, because like I don't know, food is extremely relevant topic, and that will be growing it on our facades, on our structures that we need it in the city. It's like I think it was the first slide that Natalie showed about that we occupy already like quite a big surface on Earth, and we keep growing and growing, like in our cities are bigger and bigger. So anyway, we'll be growing food in the city. So it's, I would say, extremely relevant to start implementing systems like this. So in this case, you can kind of develop your material structural system and then kind of look which kind of possibilities and variations you can make. The same when we looked at the possibilities of developing of different cells. Here is more material system and its application, kind of to keep it more like design research thing. But really cool, super inspiring.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we had one more presentation coming up.
I think I can follow next. I'll share my screen.
Yeah, it's cool.
From the lecture yesterday, we can understand the Mycelium growth needs a structure. From this picture, we can understand structure maybe is rope. So I think if we give it a special structure, it can also grow into a curve, a special shape space. So if we form by some toughness good materials, such like as a bamboo skeleton structure, and then the mycelium can grow with this skeleton structure, just like this. Yes. So I want to describe it can form a curve space, and the final shape maybe we can form a space like this, and the people can to rest on the space, and the device can be put in some road nodes, public squares, and on the mycelium skeletons, we can combine with wine plants, because it can grow nicely with these abnormal structures and form a green space. As we know, this space is not friendly for its environment. So I want to throw this way to promote the environment. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all.
Oh yeah, that's all. My English is poor, so I think I don't know if you understand what I want to say. Yes.
I hope so. I think it's a really interesting approach to work with to create this light structures. It's again like a pavilion, I guess, right? And I like the combination between the plants and the structure itself. So, and I think it can not only be the like wine plants, but any ivy plants or something that can really grow inside this skeleton structure. And I think it's like a symbiosis of the algae and mycelium, for example. So we can learn from this. So it can be the symbiosis on the other scale, the symbiosis of the plants and the architecture, the structure. And it's interesting for me to look into how this can be designed and how it can look like, how we can shape those things. I'm not sure I understand about the structure itself. So do you plan to use some material, or you just were looking into the shape of it?
I don't understand your question.
So I mean, I didn't get exactly what you're planning the structure to build from. What the skeleton structure, the white one that you are drawing?
The structure
or not?
I think I think we can form a structure like this, like this, and then we use some bamboo. Yes, we can form like this or like this.
Okay.
bamboo.
So yeah, I think I get it. So you're like it would be like an incubator, and then we can grow mycelium right in the city, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah, and then combine it with plants. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful idea, and it shares some thoughts in common with the previous ideas about the pop-up, and yeah, I think we were talking about the big mycelium incubators before, but it's interesting to work with the structure like what you're proposing with bamboo, and to think where those incubators can be. Yeah, Katja, do you have something to add?
Yeah. I think it's very interesting, and but it will be like a similar comment that you will need to look more. I understand that there was not enough like time, but to look more about actual thing, because like how is it like I don't know if you want to grow it right there, but still with kind of the structural connections, how will like kind of stand or do anything, or like develop it more as a material system that's even more as a pavilion, to look more and like what's your own model, or like kind of joints, anything. How do you kind of aggregate the system instead of just putting it in one kind of form? But even if you design like a small kind of like piece of wall, then if the system has the possibility to grow, that's when it's kind of gets its importance. It's like what shows it's like you're kind of thinking further how to grow, how to aggregate kind of it. So what's your unit kind of, what's your limitations kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's like okay. It's like Panda. They are working with bamboo. They are doing those structures that are really like aggregates from bamboo.
Oh yeah.
The skyscraper.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess we have like two people who were not presenting, so maybe.
Yeah, and we should a little bit speed up.
Yes, I can't. No.
Okay, Ahmed, right? No.
Maybe I can.
Yeah, go.
I like to share my experience, and I have some. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I like to share my thinkings about Moscow.
Okay, I think we lost the connection.
Yeah, we probably can be right not too heavy, and together with Zoom it can collapse.
Maybe you can switch to wireframe mode or something. Another.
No, but that's his thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking to Chenbin.
Ah, I thought you were talking to me. Oh. Okay, there are some movements.
Yeah, I've seen some movements. Okay.
Are you with us? Or are you still? Okay, maybe
somebody else.
Wait. Are you here?
I can present.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yes, okay. Uh, 1 second. So from yesterday's presentation, I noticed how Moscow city is lacking from green spaces and open public areas. So that's my attention was bringing to that point. People can't spend time outside on the weather. So I came out with green towers near the skyscrapers. These towers are connecting to each other and with the other skyscrapers with green corridors that people can be far away from the cars and the noises down the towers. And at the same time, these towers are purification the air from down to the out to the top side. These include trees inside these towers, and at the same time, it could be arresting points from the daily life between each of these towers. And I can use, I'm thinking to make these towers have a green texture that use some kind of mycelium that can purification the air inside the towers, that it could be circulation of new life of people inside the city. Yes, that's my research.
Yeah, I like the idea because I don't know if we wanted this to be like that, but they resemble me the trees themselves. So it's like a huge tree, a huge artificial tree that you are building around the district, and then they are being connected, and it's like in the forest, in the true forest, because the trees are connected in the forest with the mycorrhiza, with the mycelium, and that's how they communicate actually, and they exchange the and the water and some microelements. So I like the vision that you're trying to, you looked in this urban forest and you wanted to update this urban forest with some new structure that would be more natural, and they would be from the natural material. And the only thing that I think maybe we need to think about the functionality of those new trees, let's say, how what they are doing, and how we can use them in the city space.
Yes, yes. Uh, because I noticed that yesterday in the presentation that people can't spend time on green areas. So I'm thinking these stations could be inside a green area, like uh, green towers, and between each one there is green corridors that can spend their time on it and circulating in this area like uh, short distances, because down there in the city there is a lot of traffic areas, and people can't reach from, which I noticed from Google Earth, there's people there spend a lot of time to reach from point to point because of the maybe urban streets or from the car traffic. So I'm thinking to make these columns, these towers as stations, and between station and skyscraper, there's green corridors that people can move from each point to the other point. And inside of these green corridors, it could be relaxing points that could be, for example, smoking or eating or another routine life. But inside the station, it could be the main object for the city, which is purification the air, because down there and the pollution of the cars, it could be heavy for the city. So inside these towers, I could use some kind of these myceliums or other kind of plants that could purificate the air inside. At the same time, it could be a relaxing point for people who can sit and doing their life inside.
Yeah, I also think if we talk about the air purification, so it depends on the system, but maybe we can also use the wind power inside the structure, because it will be a huge wind turbine in some design case. So maybe we can also use it as a like these towers can also produce wind power. Maybe.
Yeah, actually, I thought I thought about it, but maybe the pollution it could be the same. So I just I'm trying to make that towers are fully organic, that plants do all the job. I'm not sure. I didn't do a lot of research yesterday,
Yeah.
but I will try to figure it out.
Cool.
Nice, thank you for sharing. I think it's also, it goes a little bit back to like Olga's idea. That in one case she wanted to connect to water, but you kind of more wants to connect also to the ground. So
Yes.
kind of creates like a certain possibilities. Could it be like extension of actual like land and like extension of like ground layer, that it's still like it depends. If it's air purification, it's one thing. If it's greenery, but it's connected to the like actual ground, because still isolated system, it kind of uses its resources and like can die at certain like kind of step. But this one, if it's like always connected, just like goes back. I mean, it's quite big in the scale, but if it connects to the ground and if it's extension of the landscape, for example, and it's kind of circulates as one system. But of course, it's a big speculation, but it's going to be beautiful, like if you kind of make a multi-layer like landscape grid that restores itself, because it's connected kind of to the earth, to the kind of planet, and not just isolated like isolated planters or something. And of course, air purification in general is extremely interesting topic. If it's like air filters, if it's membranes that collect. For example, there is a material, I can make a mistake because it's not very popular, but there is one artist who works with it. I think it's Noxet, but it's basically, it's a ceramics polymer, and it absorbs pollution, but basically like a small cube of it, like of this, can absorb pollution in your like apartment for like 60 years if you just place it. So it's kind of really cool thing. So kind of building from it and like layering it, it's could be also interesting because it's, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's more like ceramics. It's quite sustainable, and the like the observation level is quite high. Cool, really nice.
Thank you.
So
I'm pausing it now.
I think the last one, yeah, or two.
I'm not sure.
No. It's okay. Yeah, like but I think
Sending
and
Amy, right? And I don't know, Nukai. This is someone else.
Yeah, because if you with us, like you could, I think, just share print screens, like that it's one kind of stack your Zoom. I really hope like when we'll be sharing the script, we won't have this problem, because it's kind of,
me too.
It's too like too heavy on Zoom and like kind of gross.
Hi. I turn off my video and I just share my screen.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. And first, I find some information about Moscow International Business Center, and I find it's a fully functional area. So I think there are maybe a lot of people in this area, which leads to the density of the buildings are a little too high. So I just want to produce some buildings like them to attract more people from the east to the west. So there are some sketches. Yeah, first the master plan. Can you see my master plan? Okay, yeah. I think my ideas is to copy the buildings of the east to
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, we lost you. We don't hear you.
I see the pictures, but I don't hear anything. Cindy?
Yeah, I think there are like problems with microphone.
Yeah, something with my.
Because you can hear it, it's like he's keep moving. He's alive.
So we have seen your pictures, but we didn't hear you.
Are you here? Can you talk?
I think there's something with the internet connection. So I guess maybe you can upload your drawings on Google Drive. And maybe some short description so we can comment to you. I don't know if you are if you could connect Telegram. I don't remember.
Yeah, or you can drop it on a Google Drive, and also like, or I don't remember if you're on Telegram or not, like that we can communicate faster. But who else? I think one more, right? Natalie, who is one more?
There is someone called Ailey.
Ailey, I think. Did we have Ailey or not? Ailey, can you respond?
Okay, so I think we can have a break for 10 minutes and then we can go back to our grasshopper scripts. I just wanted to ask if you can stay a bit longer because I think we are a bit out of time. So if everyone, because maybe we will have like an hour for scripts, maybe less. But
maybe less, I could say 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you.
Yeah, we like, I mean, thank you for surviving for everybody, because I know it's not always easy when like so many people kind of presenting, but at the same time, just look on the difference of ideas that people were able to generate during just one kind of evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically I think what will happen, Natalie will present one part of the script, and more like agent-based simulations. Then I'll present more kind of different experiments that you can take further, or you can kind of work with your own grasshopper and ideas. But till tomorrow, you will have time to play with the script, or maybe even script your own thing, like you're free with this, like depends on your ideas. And tomorrow we'll break you into teams. That's kind of to take further, more like collaborative project development. Okay, So let's do like now it's 15 minutes, like in a half an hour, like in a 15 minutes. So it's for everybody different time, but like in 15 minutes, let's meet. The same link.
Okay.
Okay. See you guys.